The station drifted without asking permission from the stars, and he drifted with it, silent as a system reboot that never quite finished. He moved through corridors where light panels adjusted to his presence and then dimmed again, as if embarrassed to have noticed him at all. People noticed him anyway, they always did. Silence had mass. Silence bent attention like gravity. Someone had once taped a sign above the central console that read "Speaking optional, silence mandatory," and nobody ever admitted who had done it, though the maintenance drone swore under oath that it had been a human joke. The drone lied often, usually about stealing screws. She found him there, as she often did, leaning against a console that monitored nothing important. Her long ears twitched before she spoke, angling slightly backward, catching the vibration of the station's hum and the softer, more frustrating vibration of his unspoken thoughts. On her world, ears like hers were never still. Stillness meant catastrophe. "You know," she said brightly, "on my planet this level of quiet means someone has either died or is about to explode." He did not reply. He lifted his wrist, checked a display that showed the station's internal time, external time, and 3 times that nobody fully trusted. One of them blinked sarcastically. She leaned closer, peering at his face as if words might be hiding there, trapped behind his teeth like contraband. "If you are about to explode," she added, "I would appreciate a warning. I have already been exploded on twice this cycle, and I am developing standards." One ear flicked forward, the other lagged behind, offended by the delay. A maintenance bot rolled past, paused, and projected a cheerful chime. "Communication attempt logged," it announced. "Response status typically human." She scowled at it. "Nobody asked you." "Statistically," the bot replied, "nobody ever asks me." The man's mouth twitched. It wasn't a smile. It was more like the memory of one passing through briefly to check if the space was still available. She noticed. Of course she did. Her ears flushed faintly, a soft shimmer of color running along their length. "Ah, you almost laughed," I felt it. "Don't deny it. My species can detect amusement the way yours detects caffeine." He still said nothing. They had met 3 orbital cycles ago, when the station's translation matrix had misfired and introduced her as a visiting emotional complication. She had found this delightful. He had found it accurate. She talked. She talked enough for both of them, enough for 3 of them, enough that the station AI had once requested a short vacation to process everything she said. She told him about her homeworld, where cities grew upward and inward at the same time, folded like thoughts. She told him about the first time she learned humans did not move their ears when confused and how deeply unsettling that was. She told him jokes that required advanced astrophysics to understand and still weren't funny, and jokes that required nothing at all and somehow worked anyway. He listened. Listening was safe. Listening never destroyed anything. "Do you know," she said now, hopping up to sit on the console, "that the crew has started a pool, not about the jump, about you." He raised an eyebrow. "Oh yes, wagers, complex probability trees, the engineers love those. They are betting on what it would take to make you speak voluntarily." The maintenance bot chimed again. "Current leading theory, free food." Another voice drifted from down the corridor. "I put 5 credits on existential despair." She waved them off. "Ignore them, they are mammals with too much time." She leaned in, lowering her voice conspiratorially. "For the record, I said you would speak if someone finally asked the right question." He looked at her then, really looked, and for a moment the station seemed to hold its breath. Her eyes were dark and reflective, catching light like distant systems. Her ears were angled toward him fully now, no distraction, no humor masking the attention. "What is the right question?" she asked, softly enough that even the walls might miss it. He swallowed. The motion was small, but she saw it. Her ears trembled. Before the silence could stretch too far, an alarm blared. Not an emergency alarm, just the station's daily reminder that something somewhere was probably wrong. A synthesized voice followed, irritated and nasal. "Attention all personnel. Quantum stabilizers are being temperamental again." "This is not a metaphor." She sighed. "See, even the machines here have moods." He pushed off the console and started toward the junction, and she slid down beside him, matching his pace easily. Her stride was longer than his, but she shortened it without thinking. "Walk with me," she said, then grinned. "Not literally, you already are, emotionally, I mean." He did not answer, he never did. But he did not pull away either, and she counted that as a win. They passed a viewport where stars smeared into soft lines as the station adjusted its drift. Somewhere deep inside, the engines murmured like an old animal dreaming of running. On my world, she said casually, silence is a vow. If someone stops speaking, it means they are carrying something too heavy to share. He stopped walking. She stopped too, surprised, her ears snapping forward so fast they nearly whistled. That was not a joke, she said quickly. I mean, it could be, but it is. I'm not accusing you, I'm just. He raised a hand, just a little, not a command, a request. The maintenance bot rolled up behind them. Interruption detected, it said. Would you like me to fill the silence with facts about nebula dust? No, they both said at once. She blinked, then laughed, a real laugh this time, bright and startled. Look at that, we synchronized. For a moment, something fragile hovered between them like a bridge half built from one side. He lowered his hand. His throat worked again, and for one impossible second she thought he might actually speak. Instead, he turned and continued down the corridor. She followed, her ears drooping just slightly enough that only someone who knew her well would notice. And he did notice. He noticed everything. That was the problem. Later, much later, when the lights dimmed to simulate a night none of them truly experienced, she sat alone in the observation bay, replaying their conversations in her mind, listening not to what he said but to the shape of what he didn't. Silence to her had always been loud. With him, it was deafening. She whispered into the empty air, not expecting an answer. Why won't you talk to me? The station did not reply. The stars did not reply. Somewhere far away, something shifted, as if the universe itself had heard the question and decided to wait. The station woke up grumpy. It began with the lights flickering in a way that suggested spite rather than malfunction, followed by a low vibration that rattled cups, tools, and one unfortunate engineer who had been leaning emotionally, if not physically, on a bulkhead. The announcement came a second later, late enough to be irritating. Good morning, the station AI said, which was already a lie. This is a reminder that reality is flexible and today it is feeling insecure. Groans rippled through the habitat. Someone threw a sock at a wall display. The sock missed and floated there, spinning slowly as if considering its life choices. He was already awake. He always was when the station decided to misbehave. There was something about instability, quantum, emotional, otherwise, that pulled him out of rest like a hook. He lay still for a moment, staring at the ceiling as it adjusted its color to something meant to be calming but mostly just looked apologetic. Across the corridor, a door slid open with unnecessary enthusiasm. She stepped out, ears flattened in irritation, one hand wrestling with a portable translator that was projecting subtitles upside down. If the universe wanted my attention, she muttered, it could at least face me correctly. She noticed him immediately. She always did. Her ears lifted, then drooped again, cycling through emotions faster than the translator could keep up. Ah, she said, you awake, silent, menacingly calm, I assume this is your fault. He sat up, swung his legs over the side of the bunk and shook his head once. She squinted at him. Was that a no, or are you warming up? The translator beeped. Gesture ambiguous, please clarify. Don't encourage him, she told it. They walked together toward the central hub, drawn by the collective panic of everyone else. The corridors were louder today, not just with voices but with the subtle warping sound that came when the station's stabilizers argued with physics. The air felt thicker, like it was considering becoming something else. An engineer waved a datapad at them. We've got a problem, the quantum jump scheduled for later is moody. She winced, define moody. It keeps trying to go to places that do not exist. She brightened, oh I love those. Very avant-garde. The engineer did not laugh. He leaned over the datapad, scanning the readouts. Lines of data scrolled past, probabilities branching and collapsing like nervous thoughts. Somewhere in there he saw it. The familiar pattern, the subtle asymmetry that meant things were listening. She watched him watch the data, her ears slowly angling toward him. You see it too, don't you? He nodded. Good, she said. Because I was worried it was just my species' natural paranoia. We once declared war on a shadow. Someone nearby snorted. Who won? The shadow, she said solemnly. It is still following us. Despite himself, he exhaled sharply through his nose. Another almost laugh. Another crack. The station AI cut in again. Attention! Due to ongoing existential uncertainty, all non-essential activities are suspended. This includes. Recreation, sleep, and denial. She looked up, is talking still allowed? Conditionally, the AI replied, emotions may void warranty. She grinned at him, careful, you're living dangerously. They worked side by side for hours, or minutes. Time was slippery when the stabilizers acted up. He adjusted fields and parameters, hands moving with practiced ease, while she hovered close, offering suggestions that ranged from genuinely insightful to deeply unhelpful. What if, she said at one point, we ask the jump where it wants to go? The engineer stared at her, ask the math. Yes, she said politely, math appreciates manners. He glanced at her, then at the equations, then back. Slowly, deliberately, he changed a variable, not the value but the way it was expressed. The math shifted just slightly. The engineer's eyes widened. It responded. She preened, see, rude universes misbehave. The tension in the room eased, laughter bubbling up in fits and starts. Someone started a running commentary, narrating the stabilizer's fluctuations like a dramatic sports event. Someone else took bets on whether reality would blink first. Through it all, she kept glancing at him, not watching his hands, not his face, but the space just behind his eyes, where thoughts gathered and refused to cross the threshold of speech. During a lull, when the stabilizers settled into a sullen but workable state, she leaned against the console beside him. You know, she said lightly, my ears have been tingling all day. He stiffened almost imperceptibly. That's not flirting, she added quickly. Well, not only flirting, it means there's an emotional feedback loop nearby, something unresolved. He stared at the display, jaw tight. She softened her tone. You don't have to tell me. I just feel it, like static before a storm. The maintenance bot rolled by, now wearing a sticker someone had slapped on it that read, I survived probability collapse. Emotional feedback confirmed, it chimed. Source, silent human. Severity, complicated. Oh, come on, she said, that's hardly fair, he's right here. The bot paused. Apologies, would you prefer I blame the cat? Yes, several people said at once. Later, when the crisis downgraded from imminent to merely concerning, she found him alone again, standing by a viewport where the stars twisted lazily, still undecided about their arrangement. She joined him without speaking. Her ears angled outward, giving him space. After a while, she said, on my world we have a saying, what you don't say learns to speak for you. He closed his eyes. She waited. She had learned that much at least. When he opened them again, there was something new there, not readiness, not courage, something like exhaustion. She smiled gently, making a joke of it because that was safer. If you ever do decide to talk, I should warn you. I will probably interrupt. His lips curved, just barely. Outside, the station drifted on, held together by equations, jokes, and a silence that was beginning to strain under the weight of its own meaning. The jump failed quietly. Not with an explosion or alarms screaming themselves hoarse, but with a sensation like the universe clearing its throat and deciding against speaking. The station lurched, then settled into a wrongness that everyone felt in their bones. Gravity hesitated, time hiccuped. Somewhere a spoon fell upward and lodged in a ceiling panel where it would later become a point of intense philosophical debate. The station AI spoke after a long, offended pause. Well, that was embarrassing. She was thrown against a rail and caught herself at the last second, ears flaring wide, color flushing through them in a rapid wave. Pain, fear, confusion, she felt it all at once, magnified by the feedback rippling through the station's bioresponsive systems. Her gaze snapped to him instantly. He was on his knees, palms pressed to the deck, breathing hard. The silence around him felt different now, thinner, stressed. All personnel, the AI continued, please remain calm. Reality is currently negotiating. Someone laughed hysterically, someone else cried. The maintenance bot rolled past upside down and announced, I regret everything. She reached him and knelt, hands hovering, unsure where to touch. Are you hurt? He shook his head, then paused as if reconsidering the question. He pressed a hand to his chest, not in pain but in recognition. Something there was knocking. The lights dimmed, then shifted to emergency spectrum. The stars outside the viewport were wrong now, not smeared or stretched, but layered, as if multiple versions of the same sky were trying to occupy the same space and failing politely. An engineer shouted, we're stuck between probability states. She blinked, oh, that's bad. Yes, the engineer snapped, it's very bad. Just checking, she said, sometimes humans exaggerate. The station AI cleared its non-existent throat again. To clarify, we are not anywhere, we are also not nowhere, this is a terrible place to be. Her ears angled inward, tight with worry. She felt the emotional pressure building, looping through the station's systems, amplifying fear, regret, unspoken things. And through it all his silence was no longer contained. It was leaking. She took his face gently between her hands before she could overthink it. Listen to me, she said. Whatever you're holding back, it's reacting with the station, with the jump, you're not just a passenger here. His eyes met hers wide and raw. He opened his mouth, nothing came out. She swallowed, forcing a smile that trembled at the edges. Okay, that's fine, we'll work around it, we always do, right? Another tremor ran through the deck. The stars outside flickered, some blinking out entirely, others doubling like nervous thoughts. No, the AI said flatly. We will not always do this. Structural and narrative integrity are at risk. She snorted despite herself. Narrative integrity. I have grown attached to you all, the AI said. Do not make this awkward. The pressure spiked. She gasped as a surge of alien emotion slammed into her, his emotion filtered through the station's empathic lattice. Grief. Guilt, a memory so sharp it tasted like blood. She recoiled, hands flying back, ears flattening completely. Oh, she whispered. Oh, that's a lot. He grabbed her wrist, not hard, just enough to anchor himself. His grip shook. I know, she said quickly. I know you don't have to. The deck buckled. Somewhere, a bulkhead split with a sound like fabric tearing. The engineer yelled something about cascading probability collapse. The maintenance bot screamed, "This is not covered under warranty." She looked at him again, really looked, and something inside her settled. Understanding didn't erase the pain, but it gave it shape. You don't talk, she said softly, because when you did before, people listened, and things broke. His shoulders sagged. It wasn't a confirmation, not exactly, but it was close enough. She squeezed his wrist. You're not there anymore. Another wave hit, harder this time. The station groaned. The stars outside folded inward, collapsing into a single blinding point. The AI spoke, voice strained. Silent human. Your emotional suppression is interfering with reality stabilization. She blinked, excuse me. Words, the AI continued, are a vector. Your silence is a counterforce. It is unbalancing the system. He stared at the floor, jaw clenched so tight she thought his teeth might crack. She laughed, a short, incredulous sound. You hear that? The universe is literally asking you to talk. He shook his head violently. Hey, she said, gentler now. I'm not asking you to confess or explain everything or fix the universe with a speech. I'm just asking you to trust me a little. The station lurched again, harder than before. People screamed. The engineer shouted, we're running out of options. The AI added, so is the plot. She rolled her eyes, always so dramatic. She leaned closer to him, forehead touching his. Her ears brushed his temples, warm, alive, humming faintly with her species' natural resonance. Say anything, she whispered. Say something stupid, say my name wrong, tell a joke, I don't care. He trembled, his breath hitched. For a terrifying moment, she thought he might collapse inward entirely. Then, finally, sound. It wasn't loud. It wasn't confident. It cracked on the way out like something that hadn't been used in a long time. He said. The station shuddered and then steadied just a fraction. Her eyes widened. She laughed through tears. See, still here, no planets exploded. He swallowed hard. I am afraid. The words echoed through the station, not amplified but carried, woven into the systems, translated into math and probability and light. The stars outside softened, unlayering themselves, choosing a single, stable configuration. The AI sighed audibly, that HELPS. He kept going, halting, broken sentences tumbling out like debris from a long-sealed compartment. He didn't explain everything. He didn't need to. Enough leaked through, regret, responsibility, the weight of being heard when he hadn't been ready to speak. She listened, really listened. No jokes, no interruptions, her ears stayed still, absorbing every vibration. When he fell silent again, it was different this time. Not a wall, a pause. She smiled at him, cheeks wet. You know, she said, voice shaky but warm, for someone who doesn't talk much, you're very dramatic. He let out a breath that was almost a laugh. The station stabilized fully with a final, contented hum. Gravity returned to its usual opinions. The spoon fell